crashing forward, spinning awful sound. And he seemed like a ledger, meant for right and leveling the ground. I'm staying down, living high above the ground, living overall on the way, way back down. I've been bridges meant to connect land and ground, and I've been tall your ledgers meant to split higher sound. Cause burning down, living high above it all, we've seen it all, we've seen that there's a way back down.
We have all been friends for, oh my goodness, so long, 16, 17 years. It just kind of has built from like that sort of campfire, sitting around, hanging out in our youth and playing music, into forming it into a group.
We have been like family for a really long time. After dorking around for several years at parties and campfires, we decided maybe we should dork around a little more professionally.
We just kept bringing in our friends from our friend group, so we've all known each other for a really long time. Dylan and I have been great friends forever. In fact, he went to the elementary school that my mom taught at. I wasn't racing for a long time. I was like, hey, come here, this is Mrs. Gordon's son.
Hey, come on, man, she was half famous. She was Mrs. Gordon, she was awesome.
Not the most romantic story, I guess.
Tonight on Band in Seattle, Cedar Teeth brings their roots rock all the way up from Portland to the Victory Studio stage. Welcome to Band in Seattle.
Dylan and Rayson together pretty much teamed up and said, let's make this thing happen. Just kind of started turning these campfire songs into more developed songs.
For the most part, a lot of it came together pretty organically. We have a really diverse music background that kind of comes together and creates Cedar Teeth.
We have a lot of commonality in the things we're interested in listening to, but then, you know, as you start to go out, it gets a lot different.
We don't always quite know how to describe ourselves because we sort of are string bandish, but not really at all because we're rock and roll.
Party and I wasn't invited. They all had to get together, guess I wasn't quite together. And look, I really do not mind. I could sit here and think of times when I said I do not care, but there's something smelling in the air. They all threw a party and I wasn't invited. Sitting making cakes while my forks were quiet. Rocks tumble on the coast when we ain't beside it.
Open Invitation is a song about being left out and wanting to be included. It's a song about then including everyone and having an open heart.
It contains a lot of the best parts of Cedar Teeth. I particularly like how Open Invitation flows from kind of an acoustic guitar-driven song, and then by the end of the song, it's completely different.
We like to open the sets with it just because it kind of sets the stage for what we'd like to do, kind of like show ourselves, and then hopefully everybody comes along with us.
What if the gods made waves and you weren't delighted? They sang songs of saving days, you were slightly slighted. Well, you'd say you really do not care, but there's something smelling in the air. You're in the sandstand mud, but cradle is rocks you were. They all threw a party and you were invited.
So I I think you'd show up and you'd see us all on stage and you'd see the banjo and you'd see Dylan's big long beard and you'd see me with my Telecaster and you'd be like, this has got to be a country band. And then as we started to play, especially we open with open invitation a lot, you'll notice that the lyrics seem a little different than, you know, kind of conventional country.
Some songs are like rock and roll and some songs are like head and heart, you know, floor stomping.
We were in the van a couple weeks back and we had this perfect thing and I cannot remember for the life, and it was like it. We're like, that's the one we got to write in our bio. Because we're like rustic folk rock, which I've always been like, yeah, okay, that's like, what does that mean, man? Kind of like where my sensibilities are is like Neil Young, Bob Dylan. But then you toss in like those other guys, our NTC get kind of like a, I don't know.
I think when Cedar Teeth is at its best, that's why we're at our best, is when we're all bringing our individual pieces and our very diverse individual musical interests and background together for one coherent vision as 5 people. And it's challenging as hell most of the time. But when it pays off, I think it pays off dividends.
I finger pick with all of my fingers and it has a certain style to it, and so we each just bring a little piece of what we like, and it makes this sound that we have.
When we return, uncover more about Cedar Teeth.
Winter is one of our oldest songs. I identify it with our sound probably the most.
Been there so long, it's hard. It's like thinking about your arm, you know? It's just always been there.
It's like a song about where winter is like kind of the bad guy and you're hoping, kind of wishing there's a fast forward button. And so the song is kind of just like not knowing how things will be different, but hoping that they will soon. And it was written before Game of Thrones.
And when we meet, there won't be winter. And when we meet, there won't be winter. And when we meet, we'll be dancing carelessly out in the streets. And when we meet, there won't be winter.
Dylan, I feel like, has such an interesting and unique writing style for lyrics, and I think that's his strong suit, is complex and interesting ideas to think about as you're listening to his words.
Dylan has a way with words that is just kind of fantastic to me. Not as straightforward as a lot of people's stuff, but he just kind of weaves these dense webs of words and tells pretty cool stories.
I love Dylan's songwriting. his work with lyrics and melody. When he kind of brings that song into the space, it can be a rough process of going back and forth. 5 different paintbrushes on a canvas, and everybody's doing something a little bit different. And we're kind of hoping that it comes together, fingers crossed.
And when we see people turn our heads away in misery, beneath the tree they won't remember. We will walk all night to lose this winter. Yeah, we'll rise from streets to lose this winter.
So I'm probably the least like officially trained musician. It's like 16, 17, I picked up a guitar. At the same time gotten into Bob Dylan and kind of like singer-songwriter. Before I was writing songs, I was doing fiction and poetry. And then I kind of put all that energy mostly, I mean I still write, even with this band for a couple years before I, of just trying things on until I figured out, oh, that's what it's like when you do it right. Like when you're really listening to each other, you know what I mean? Like, and it was like, aha, okay, that's something to strive towards.
I got 2 bottles in my first guitar. A night to myself, but it all came apart. I wash off the day, but it lingers on.
2 Bottles, I didn't write. That's an Erin song. I'm not so good at arranging the music right off the bat, but hers come to us, generally in full form. All we do is kind of ice it.
Fell out the blanket speaks to the truth in my song. Tension's gone awry 'cause I waited too long. I cracked the first stop, the deeps of my side. Tempting solitude. Tempting solitude.
Erin and I play kind of off each other a bit as 2 melodic instruments with very different styles, but we work really well together.
First, it was kind of like, are these 2 soloists going to be able to? But yeah, I mean, at some point they decided they liked each other, and so, yeah. It's interesting because Luke has always been into more kind of like out there stuff, especially guitar-wise. I mean, he's like into Radiohead, but like My Bloody Valentine. He has like this, I love Radiohead, but a lot of what Luke likes isn't really what I would like exactly, but I always loved how he played. And then I'm like kind of a folk songwriter dude, so there's this interesting and they're like opposite ends almost.
Erin has been dorking around on the banjo for a really long time, and all of us have. I've dorked around on it before, but not played it, just like made sound. Then she just found that crazy electric banjo that she has, and it has an awesome sound. It blends really well with what we're doing.
I think it's something like playing by ear and then also being like a classically trained guitar player. She's kind of like, well, I can do something with this thing. Yeah, it's definitely not like a normal banjo.
I use the same technique that I would use on my classical, and I try to have fingernails if I can keep them, and so I play with my fingernails just like I would on a classical. I try to make it sound like a banjo, but within what I can do, and I think it has a pretty unique sound.
After the break, find out more about Cedar Teeth.
Echoes Groundings is a lot of fun because it's like everyone's cheering.
Echoes Grounding is a full duet between Dylan and myself, and Keegan sings as well.
Some of Dylan's best lyrical work is in this song. Catchy, it's a poppy song, it's a fun song to play, it's a fun song to be part of.
I brought it to the band and I was like, I wrote this song and it's like a battle song. Like just imagine like Rocky IV.
Dylan was describing it in terms of Sylvester Stallone in the training montage in Rocky IV when he's running across mountaintops.
We're like, yeah, but can we really call the song Rocky IV? I kind of like lifted a bit of some Greek myth stuff. And so we did Echoes Grounding, but you know, it started off as Rocky IV.
Still on set lists, it'll say Rocky IV, you know, those in the know.
Just fashion points, spit an awful sound, and you seem like a ledger meant for riding, living the ground. I'm staying down, living high above the round, living overall on the way, way back down. I've been bridges meant to connect landing ground, and I've been tall your ledgers meant to split high sound. Feels burning down, living high above it all. We've seen it all. We've seen that there's a way back down. I'll give you the rest of me, no, not the best of me. You want a part of me that is just the start of me. I'll give you the rest of me, no, not the best of me. You want a part of me that's just a start you never knew.
Rayson's our bass player. He's a fun guy. He's one of those just quick players. Like he can just hear something once and he can just go. And often you'll like hear melodies going through the bass line, which isn't always the norm for a bass player.
16, 17, I think when we first started hanging out, we would just play the bass up in an attic, and we just make noise all night long and drink beer all night long and annoy people all night long. He has more music knowledge and taste than anybody I know. He will tell you anything about anybody when it comes to the art. And he brings that every practice, every show. He brings a professionalism and a respect for the art.
I'll give you the rest of me, no, not the best of me. You want a part of me that is just the start of me. I'll give you the rest of me, no, not the best of me. You want a part of me that's just the start you live. I'll give you the rest of me, no, not the best of me. You want a part of me that is just the start of me. I'll give you the rest.
Rayson is, I don't know if it's because of the whole rhythm section thing, but I feel like he's a brother at this point. Like we're always locked in together, like bouncing off each other during live shows.
We kind of settled into it pretty quickly, and it feels really natural and effortless to play with Keegan.
25, just a kid, man. It makes us all feel old. I mean, he brings youth and energy and a way of approaching this.
Like his sense of humor is just perfect. He just fits right in. And that was kind of one of my concerns, you know, going into it. It's like, well, what if you can play really good, but we don't get along, or, you know, feels like we've known him forever.
Fantastic drummer. He's like a metronome. And for his age, he's a wise soul. So Keegan's been a kick in the pants, man.
Anybody in this world, you know, anybody you've got to see. Well, that was you and me. Can anybody hold a candle to the ocean where it meets the sea? Well, that's you and me. And when the lights go down on the lonesome part of town,
a creative satisfaction that all musicians get doing this. There's the social satisfaction that all musicians get. Really, though, I think one of the biggest pieces of that puzzle is my bandmates. The thought of me not doing this, becomes more of a thought of me missing these people, missing being on the road, sharing that paintbrush.
I like playing, I like getting on the stage, but a lot of the time the best time we have is just getting in the van together, going somewhere and arguing about how pretty that river is versus the last one,
I mean, honestly, even when it's like not that much fun, I still go, yeah, but it's pretty great.
And when the lights go down and we're off roaming around, there's a town that's watching, but there's really nobody around. Well, have you ever tried to climb up so high? You got so high you could barely breathe. Oh, that's you and me.
For more information about our bands, go to bandinseattle.com where you can watch Cedar Teeth's full concert.